says I'm live. Oh, all right. Guess I must be then. Yep, Pulse is there. Good evening and welcome to Tales from the Cellar, number 2, day 2 of the Ohio shelter in place. Should I be worried that all of a sudden all over Facebook I see squirrel recipes? First, I thought it was a little odd. There was a post about how to butcher a squirrel, how to dismember a squirrel so that you could cook it up. And then today, there's a whole lot of squirrel recipes on there. And Squirrel Helper, somebody mocked it up. I didn't think it's that bad. But if you get that hungry and you live around here, I got enough squirrels in my backyard to feed a family of 4 for a week. Just so you know. People wanted a couple of things people want me to discuss, so I'll talk about them. And one of them, well, 2 of them, blue sky talks. Somebody asked me to. I've often talked about the blue sky talks that Gary and I had. Someone recently asked me to be more specific, and that's really hard because number one, they were end of the day type things. Pardon me, I just realized I dropped a cable. Gary had a tiny little study. I mean, it was tiny, and with his desk and one chair and a bookcase, that was about it. And when we were working in his basement, a couple of times while we were still in his house, we would steal some time away at the end of the day or ended before I had to head home because Cheryl and I were on different shifts and we had one car. We would sit down in his little study and we'd crack open the window because it stunk bad enough after we fired up they were probably black and tans or something cheesy cheap like that. Have a Tampas, I don't know. And some pretty, well, I'm not a scotch drinker, but even I could tell it was probably pretty bad. And we would just wind down. What are we talking about? I mean, we only were able to do this a couple, 3 times while we were still in the house because it was almost like we were stealing time. And we would just talk about what's going on, how this project's come along, that project's come along. And after we'd had a couple of sips of scotch and we were partway into our stogies, we'd start just spinning tales about what we saw the industry becoming and what we saw TSR becoming. And at that point in time, TSR was doing print runs of 2,000 or less. And I don't know, one of us said, yeah, someday we'll call up, it was probably Patch Press or whoever we were doing business with at the time, and order 10,000, a print of 10,000. And we just laughed our butts off because that was so far away in the foreseeable future. And that's really what the blue skies were. We envisioned a time when Dragon Magazine would basically, well, if all went well, Dragon Magazine would create such a rising tide that everybody would rise up. All these companies would flourish, and we'd all have a great time, and it'd be a new period for games and gaming. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? But it happened. So what we were fantasizing about in these were where the company would be in 3 years, 5 years. And it was happening in 18 months. It was happening in 12 months. We were doubling print runs inside of a year. The ball started rolling. And of course, that was all about the Dallas Egbert stuff. So that's what the blue skies were just, oh, gee, where would we like to be? What's, yeah, and they were, we would set improbable, wouldn't it be great if? And most of them came out. Now, I got a Carbondale question about games. So, I don't see a problem answering unless I don't have anything to talk about on Friday. But that's right, Friday I'm doing. Yeah, anyway. As one of the first DMs ever, when I read that, I would, yeah, I guess I was. I don't know what number I'd get, but it's probably, I don't know, it might be, no, it's probably somewhere under 20. I don't know. Anyway, did you ever have a script or plot thread that backed you into a corner and you found it hard to rethink once the adventure had started? If yes, how'd you handle it? No. And I'll tell you how why I didn't ever have that. Um, my campaign was somewhat by the seat of the pants. Um, I started out with a set of ruins and this big bad evil guy that they found a hint about. And I didn't know where I was going to take it, but that's where it started. And so we were just learning how to play the Simon and Garfunkel song. It's all happening at the zoo, and call it "Let's Go Killing at the Zoo" because that's what it was like back when every other room had something in there. And it evolved as it went along because I was making up stuff based on where they went and what they found and how it turned out. And so, okay, here's the next plot line. And it was an organic development. So no, I didn't get back in. And that's all. We're just here checking in, making sure that we're all being safe, social distancing, sneeze in your sleeve, wash your hands frequently, and don't touch your face. And we'll all get through this together. Game on.